Hey family, how's everybody doing? I hope all is well. All right, family. This show is going to be about a school shooting in Colorado leaves one student dead and 8 other students injured. Wow, this is crazy. I woke up to this and I decided, to do a show on it because I don't understand why there's so many school shootings in Colorado, especially. Last month in April, that's the 20th anniversary of the Columbine high school shooting. And here we are 20 years later. Um, STEM School Highlands Ranch, there was a shooting there. The name is spelled capital S, capital T, capital E, capital M. And that's the name of the school, STEM School Highlands Ranch. Um, they closed all the schools in Denver temporarily because there were security concerns. So, like I said, the Columbine shooting, which happened uh, 20 years ago, actually. And here we are, 20 years later, they're still shooting. The anniversary came and went, and schools returned to routines. But here we are on Tuesday, yesterday, the STEM school worst fears were realized when 9 of its students were shot. One shot fatally, and 2 fellow students were being held as suspects. Wow, this is crazy. I'm telling you guys, Colorado is an evil place. I can't, well, I only can speak for like the place I've been, like Colorado Springs. I can say for myself that living in Colorado was a really bad experience. I mean, it was the worst experience a person can have far as, prejudice, goes. I mean, it's a beautiful place. I'm not gonna lie. I was so mesmerized by those mountains and the scenery, you know. I loved it, in the summertime, the weather is so nice. I was at the car wash like every weekend. I just something I just like doing. Washing my car. Making it shine up real good. I don't, just something I like doing. But and as far as that, but like the people there, I don't like the people there. They're very clueless, especially my roommates. My former roommates. I mean, so clueless. I mean, I never seen a bunch of clueless people in my life. And it's just crazy, the whole experience, staying there. I remember going to like Safeway. They have a grocery store chain called Safeway there, and they have a King Supers there, which is the same as the Kroger's down here. I found out that when I was up there because when I went to go grocery shopping, I found out I was able to use my Kroger's card number from down here. So I was using my Kroger's card number at King Supers, so I guess they, it's like one and the same, but the name is just different. So I remember going to Safeway, and it's just so expensive in Safeway. But when you go in there, they look at you like, what is she doing in here? Like, cause it was only Caucasian people there, but basically. And so I went into the store. I mean, it's like everywhere I go, these white people just staring at me like I was in the wrong place, and I felt like I was in the wrong place because, that's how they make you feel. And then going to work every day, I was experiencing the same thing. My former supervisor was very prejudiced. She was so prejudiced. I mean, she went so far as after training, because we had to do 4 weeks of training. After training, I got my own cubicle. And like she went so far as like when I go to the bathroom, I leave my beverage at my desk. That was something I was told not to do a long time ago, but I still did it because I thought these people, wouldn't do anything like this. She got me twice. I'm not gonna lie, she got me twice. So I was leaving my beverage at my desk. When I come back, I'll sit there and drink it, and that was just dumb on my part. And the very first time it happened to me, I think we had just finished training, 4 weeks of training. I think it was maybe my first or second day on the production floor. Um, and at that time, I didn't even, I had just started working there. And I think that I didn't even have my apartment yet. I was still living in hotels, here and there, or living in hotels. So, I think I was getting off. That day we were scheduled to get off at 4:30, and so I think I got up maybe about 4:15 and went to the bathroom, and I came back and I had some. I think I had a cup of water or something at my desk, and I was still kind of thirsty, so I drank the water, and I say about maybe 10 minutes later. It was time to get off. It was like 5 till, I remember. And I remember getting ready to sign out on my computer. I started feeling strange. I'm like, wait a minute, something ain't right here. It was like I was about to pass out. So 4:30 came. Everybody was leaving. I was sluggish, barely, walking to my car. And then I finally get in. I was about to drive off. And then when I was driving, I was headed towards Interstate 25. Interstate 25 is like the main highway in Colorado Springs to take you from downtown to north part of Colorado. So I was on interstate. I remember driving on Interstate 25, and I was like, man, I was feeling like I was about to pass out. I was like, something is not right here. So I pulled over. I think I had pulled over and I just, sat there, and I think I sat there for like maybe 15, 20 minutes. And then when I finally got enough strength, I went into the store and just got me some water, and I was still feeling bad. Lucky for me, I did not drink the a cup of water at my desk. I only took a sip because it was like something back of my mind was like, don't drink that. I always get these warnings. I think the Most High be speaking to me. And I thank you, Most High, because He have. I mean, it's been so many things that would have happened to me if I have not heard the Most High voice. It's no telling what I'll be right now or my family. You know, I even say my son. Well, the Most High gave me the knowledge. He put it in my head, to save my son one day. It was a long time ago. My son was like maybe 8 or 9. My son was injured in a car accident. He had a very severe brain damage, and the doctor said he would never be normal again. And so when so after the accident and everything, we was getting him back to normal, where he we had to learn him. He had to learn how to walk, talk, speak again. He was just like a baby. When you're in a car accident, when you have suffer brain injury, it does something to the brain where you don't know anything. You have to learn everything all over again. So the doctor told me, uh, you know, he's never going to be normal again. So you need to try to realize that. and just try to, get him back to normal best the way you can. So, and that's what we did. But during that time after the car accident, maybe it was like the accident happened when he was like 8 years old. So when he was like nine, or I think he was like 10, he was real, real gullible. He listened to everything, um, the other kids was doing. My son, I mean, he got beat up so bad, every day. Even teachers would beat him up, for no reason. I had to take him out of that school. I don't even know what happened at the time because a lot of things I didn't even know that I could do. I could have sued the school system, but I wasn't even aware because I was so young and didn't know anything about the law. I mean, I had school officials put their hands on my son. The students, they put their hands on. It's just evil everywhere, And so back to what I was saying. I remember one day, my son was 10 years old. It was like 2 years after the accident. I think I was over my brother's house. Well, I mean, I was over my brother's house. I don't know if I was living with him or I was spending the night or something. He lived in some apartments. It was a and he lived on the third floor, which it's a 3-story apartment. So he lived on the third floor. And so it was my brother, his wife, and her son. They were living there. And I was, and I was there, and my son was there, my oldest son, you know, he was there. It was just me and him. I think we were spending the night. I'm not sure if we were maybe staying there for a couple of weeks, or whatever. Guys, due to the lead, it kind of like messes up my memory. So some things in my past I can't remember clear like other people can. But anyway, so I remember this day I was laying on the couch and I let my son and my brother's wife's son, they were outside, what I thought at the time, they were outside playing. But before they went outside, something happened where the sheriff came and they picked up my brother's wife. And my son answered the door. Okay. And they let him in. And they were looking for her. I don't know, she's my brother's wife is very, very evil, and I believe she tried to kill my brother twice. One time in 2006 and the other time in 2016. But he don't even realize, what she tried to do, because all of a sudden, about 2 or 3 of her sister husbands, they end up dying mysteriously, and they got these large sums of life insurance. 3 of her sister's husbands, just, they didn't die like right together, but they died like, one died this year, another died maybe 6 months later, it's like that. And then they started getting these large, huge sums of life insurance money. And then my brother, he ended up back in 2006, he ended up getting rushed to the hospital. He almost died, but the Most High saved him. And I can remember her telling me, "Ooh, he's so strong." Because we was looking at him. He was laying in bed, and we was looking at him um, through a glass thing, the glass wall or whatever. It was the glass wall between us, and we were looking at him. And I was I had my head down. I was so sad because he was in this position, because I knew for a fact it wasn't nothing wrong with him. And so she was standing beside me, like, "Ooh, ooh, girl, he's so strong, ain't it? Ooh, that boy's strong." and I'm saying to my mind, at the time, I'm like, oh, I hope he pulled through. But looking back in hindsight, I'm like, she did that to him so she can collect the insurance money, and was kind of upset that he didn't die. He didn't die. The Most High pulled him through. And then 10 years later, she did the same thing to him, tried to poison him, where he had to go to a hospice. The hospice had to, put him on some kind of um, uh, penicillin, some kind of antibiotics, had to run antibiotics through his body for 2 months. He was in the hospice for 2 months. She did something to him then, and he's still with her right today. He doesn't even realize that she's doing this to him. But anyway, going back to where my son, well, I know I'm talking about this still supposed to be about the Columbine. Not the Columbine shooting, but the school shooting in Highlands Ranch, Colorado. I'm gonna get back to that, but I just wanted to tell you guys that this Satan has been trying to hurt me and my family for a long time, but the Most High has kept us protected. Um, so, um, So we were there that day. So it was, once again, I was over to my brother's house. So the sheriff knocked at the door, and they were looking for her. I don't know. She had stole something. This is a really evil person, and so she had stole something. I don't know what it was. So the sheriff came, picked her up, took her off the jail. So her son, which he was the same age as my son at the time, 10, he was upset because my son opened the door for the sheriff. And mind you, I'm telling my son was in a car accident 2 years prior. So his mind is just like real gullible, to things. So I was laying on the couch, taking a nap. And I let both of them, no shit, they went on and took her to jail. And I think my brother maybe, I don't know, he went to work. I'm not sure where he was. He probably was he probably went to go check on his wife, because she had just went to jail. But I know I was there laying on the couch, and my son and her son was there. And I was laying on the couch. I let them go outside and play. And it was a real strong voice in my head. It would not let me lay there. It wouldn't let me rest. Cause I think it said maybe about 2 or 3 times. I was just laying on the couch, and it said, get up and go outside. That's what it said. And I was like, I'm just laying there. It was real soft at first. And so the second time it got a little louder. It said, get up and go outside. And I'm like, so I opened my eyes. And it said again, louder that time, get up and go outside. I'm like, oh my, and so I at the time, I'm like, I'm young. I think I was like maybe 19 at the time. I'm not sure how I was at the time. But it was so strong. The voice was so strong in my head. I couldn't do nothing but get up and go outside. So I got up. I ran to the door. I went out there. Thank you, Most High, for giving me the gifts. But when I got up, I walked to that door, opened that door. When I went outside, remember now, my brother lives on the 3rd floor. My son was standing outside of the railings. The one that was in the car accident. He was standing outside of the railings. My brother's wife's son, he was on the ground downstairs looking up at him, telling him to jump. I heard him. He said, go on, jump, jump. And he was just about to jump until I called out his name. And I grabbed him and I pulled him back over to on the other side where I was. If I had not listened to the Most High, my son would have died again. He already died once in the car accident. The Most High brought him back. Oh yes, my son died at the car at the scene of the accident. The Most High brought him back. So I pulled him back over the railing. I'm like, what are you doing? See, that was my fault because I should have never let him alone, left him alone. See, what happened, my brother's wife's son, he was very upset that his mom went to jail. And he was trying to do something to get back at my son for opening up the door for the sheriff. See, that's how twisted the whole family is. They money hungry. They do anything for money. They kill for money. They steal for money. These people will do anything for money. And I hated that my brother doesn't see this. And I hate it for me not reaching out to him. I believe me, I have reached out to him maybe twice, but he's not listening. And I don't know how to get him to listen. Because I told him on the phone the second time around. I talked to him when she tried to kill him the second time. I remember it was in 2016. I'll never forget this. I think might have been after a few weeks after my surgery. I had a major surgery in 2016, and I remember him calling me one day. His voice was so, like he was about to faint. His voice was very, very weak. And I was like, what's wrong? Are you okay? And he said, I'm not feeling well. I said, I think you need to go to the doctor. And I told him, I said, you need to leave your wife. I told him that. Because remember when our mom died? Our mom died in 2005. That's a whole nother different story. Somebody did something to her to cause her to die. But I'm gonna do a story on my mom, a complete story on my mom, because that was an angel, a living angel in this world, and we didn't even know it. But anyway, he called me that day. It was one day in 2016. It was after my surgery. And he didn't sound right. I'm like, you don't sound right. And I told him, I said, you don't need to be with your wife because I think she tried to kill you in 2006. Here it is 10 years later, and she's trying to kill you again. And he didn't take heed to it. He did not take heed to it at all. So I called my auntie, which is my mom's sister. We had like a conference 3-way call. And I told her, I said, I said, Auntie, I'm not going to even say nothing because he don't even know why I'm calling you for. But explain to him what happened at my mom repast. For some of you that don't know what repast is where you, after someone's funeral, you go to that person's home and everybody gather and they sit around and eat and they think about the good things that person did when they were living. So the repast was over to my mom's, I mean, not my mom's house, I'm sorry, over to my house after my mom passed. The repast was over to my mom's house. And so everybody came, my brother, I don't know where he was at the time. I think he might have been still back at the burial site. But I remember his wife was there. And my auntie was there, her husband, and the pastor, and the pastor wife, they was there, because everybody loved my mom. And so everybody brought a dish because I didn't cook anything. Everybody brought food. So my brother' wife, she brought a whole pan of cornbread dressing, and my uncle was the first one to take a taste of that. I mean, to get some of the cornbread dressing. Man, I'm telling you, evil is everywhere. You guys need to be aware. Evil is everywhere. So when my uncle ate the dressing, it was bits and bits and bits and pieces of glass in it. And so he announced, he was like, and he got in his mouth, and it cut his mouth. He had blood in his mouth. So 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 he announced to everybody. He said, "Y'all don't eat the dressing because it got glass in it." And mind you, my brother's wife, she brought the cornbread dressing over there. She didn't even get none. Matter of fact, my uncle was I think he was the only one that got some at the time. He was the first one to get some. And so I got the dressing, I looked at it, I remember getting a spoon, I started digging in it. I was like, oh my Lord, it was so many broken pieces of glasses in that dressing. So fast forward to 2016, I was on the phone with my brother and I called my auntie on three-way. I said, "Auntie, tell James what happened at my mom's repast." And she told him her husband ate the dressing that his wife brought over. It was glass, all kind of glass in it. Man, I'm telling you, Satan, he recognized who the Most High protects, and he tries his best to get at those type of people. And so we was on the phone talking, um, and she told him, she said, I'm not gonna lie to you. That day, my husband ate that dressing. He had glass all in his mouth. And I told him, I said, your wife brought that dressing over. And I told him, I said, you need to get away from her. You really do. So next couple of days, one of my cousins called me and told me they had to rush him to the hospital. And so that was the second time that she tried to kill him. And he's still with this woman right today, 2019. This was 3 years later. 3 years ago. And 3 years later, he's still with her. I don't have nothing to say to her at all. I stopped speaking to her back in maybe probably 2003, 16 years ago. I stopped speaking to her. No, it might have been 2006. I think the last time. After the first time when my brother got rushed to the hospital in 2000, my mom died in 2005. My brother got rushed to the hospital in 2006. And after that, I stopped speaking to her because I knew for a fact that she tried to do something to him. But guys, that's my life. It's been hard. Uh, you know, Satan's been after me, my family. bad experience in Colorado. It's just bad all over. But going back to this school shooting here, I mean, I'm telling you, Colorado is an evil place, man. The people there are so clueless. They have no idea, especially my roommates. I'm telling you that I ain't never seen a bunch of clueless ass women. I mean, then just dumb. Like one of my roommates, Sonia, former roommate Sonia. We used to talk about our past. And so she was married to this guy, and it was just so funny because it was so obvious that when she first started telling me the story, I knew exactly I knew exactly what was going on when she was telling me, and she still when she was telling me the story, she still could understand it. It was so crazy. So what happened was she moved in with this guy, and so another guy like lived like in the same apartments. He started, you know, uh, fucking with her, like messing with her car, knocking on the ceiling, and she thought the guy was crazy. But I said, Sonya, do you ever realize that your husband might been on the down low, and that might have been his, you know, boyfriend fucking with you like that? I'm not giving you the whole story, but that's what it was, guys. She couldn't even realize that her husband was on the down low, and she thought the dude was just crazy. The guy wasn't crazy. He was just jealous because he found out the guy was married, and it was her. He was married to her, so he started, doing crazy things like, knocking on their door, and so they end up moving. He found out where they moved to. I said, he told them where you moved to. He messing with. She was like, I don't understand how he found out where we moved to. I said, duh, your husband is on the down low. But anyway, I didn't tell her that. It was in my mind. Why she was telling me that. But right today, she's still dumb as hell. Didn't even know that man. She just thought the man was crazy, but her husband was on the down low. But anyway, I just never seen a bunch of clueless people in Colorado in my life. My roommates them folks was so clueless. But anyway, going back to this shooting here. 20 years ago, there was a school shooting in Columbine, the Columbine High School shooting. Now, the STEM school, Highland Ranch, school shooting. Man, this is crazy. What it says here, Highland Ranch, Colorado, last month, as the 20th anniversary of the Columbine High School shooting approached, STEM school Highlands Ranch joined hundreds of schools near Denver in closing temporarily because of security concerns. The anniversary came and went, and schools returned to their routines. But on this Tuesday, which was yesterday afternoon, the STEM school's worst fears were realized when 9 of its students were shot, one fatally, and 2 fellow students were being held as suspects. I don't think this is normal people doing this, guys. I think this is somebody from the higher up is doing this. Especially the 20 years ago too, and then now. It's just something. If you look about the numbers, they tell you, like, I think like in the church shooting, one at 9 people that got shot. I don't know, but now it's 9 people here that got shot. So I think these are whoever in charge of this so-called place that we live in. I think they had something to do with this. Let's see here. Here's a quote here. We know 2 individuals walked into the STEM school, got deep inside the school, and engaged students into separate locations. Sheriff Tony Spurlock of Douglas County said it at news conference. At 6:45 p.m., about 5 hours after the shooting, the Douglas County Sheriff's Office released a statement confirming that one of the nine who had been shot, an 80-year-old man, had died. Late Tuesday night, the sheriff's office identified one of the suspects as Devin Eckerson, he is 18 years old, but said it would provide no further information about him because we still have interviews to conduct and we want to make sure we have the most accurate information. Police tape was strung up outside the prim brick suburban home where neighbors said Mr. Eckerson's family has lived since the late 1990s. A next-door neighbor who declined to be named described him as a quiet young man. It always be the quiet ones that does this type of things because they have so many demons in their mind, and this is the way that they, I guess, express themselves. I don't know. So they said so the neighbors described him as a quiet young man who sometimes deflected eye contact and played several musical instruments. So the sheriff said that the suspects, who were armed with a handgun and other weapons, confronted law enforcement officers when they arrived. He said the suspect, Mr. Erickson, and one juvenile were not injured. Oh man, I'm not gonna, this article goes on and on, but I'm not gonna get into it that much. Well, I'm really done with this article here. I'm just trying to let you know, guys, know how evil this place is, Colorado is. I mean, the whole time I was there, it was just a bad experience with the people there. Like I said, it's a beautiful place. I mean, the scenery is very, very beautiful. The mountains are beautiful, but the people out there are clueless and some of them are very evil, especially the white people. They're very evil. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for me here. I'll talk to you real soon. This was just a breaking news show about this school shooting in Colorado. All right, guys, one love.